Okay, everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is episode number 3 of What Would Ghosts Do? It's a series where I take email suggestions on a possible scenario that you feel that you may encounter, or a scenario that you think will impact you when the shit finally hits the fan full bore. This episode is brought to you by Frugal Mom. Okay, here's her situation. It was a very short email, but she was very detailed. She was to the point. She made it real easy to answer this. All right, here's her situation. Obviously, she's in Australia. She's at the Sydney airport, and she needs to get, or she's traveling to the Perth airport when all of a sudden everything just stops. Nothing electrical works. We're just going to assume it was, say, an EMP. Okay, so nothing electrical works. She's at the Sydney airport, and she needs to get to the Perth airport. Has to. No questions about it. That is her number one and only priority, other than arriving there alive, is getting from Sydney to Perth in Australia. All she has is her EDC and her carry-on baggage. Okay, so obviously the carry-on baggage, it's gonna, have clothes and stuff. We'll say she was going for a week, so it's got, clothes, toiletries, some things like that, and then her EDC is with her as well. Okay, now I did a little research on this. By road, you're talking, it's almost 4,000 kilometers from Sydney to Perth. That's a long way. Okay, by road. But we've established that the vehicles aren't working. So if we are traveling by road, it's going to be on foot. If nobody's vehicles is working, that means a lot of people are going to be out there on foot. There's going to be a massive traffic jam. It's going to be rough on the highway initially after this situation, whatever it was. We're assuming it was an EMP. It sounds that way. So by road, on foot, 4,000 kilometers. So you're talking, if you're walking at a decent pace, 8 hours a day, it's going to take you 4 months to get from Sydney to Perth by foot. And if you're in a hurry, and the way her email suggested, she had to get to Perth, Australia. So walking would be the least favorable option, other than hoping you would stumble onto somebody that had an older make and model car that perhaps was still running, that you could hitch a ride a partial way there for. But most of the pumps at the gas stations work off electricity. So if everything's down, you better have a hand pump or a long hose to siphon gasoline, and bolt cutters to get to the tanks to refill the tank on the vehicle, if you can get a ride, which is highly unlikely. So we've established that walking from Sydney to Perth is going to take you 4 months. Not very likely. In my opinion, there's 2 other options. Option 1 is find another mode of transportation that isn't walking and isn't in a motor vehicle. My top choice would be a bicycle. If you can find a decent bicycle, and I calculated it out, you can ride that 4,000 kilometers in approximately a month. That's running at a good clip during the day. The only other option that seemed feasible to me would be commandeering a sailboat, or maybe paying someone to let you hitch a ride on a sailboat, unless you can find a steamship out there somewhere. But then again, a sailboat is going to take you about the same amount of time that riding a bicycle would. Now, both of them have inherent dangers. If you're riding a bike on a paved road, there's people out there, things are getting crazy, so it could be dangerous, but you've got your EDC. I know Australia is pretty rough on the gun laws, so and she was going through an airport, so obviously she's not carrying anything crazy, but I would assume that it's going to be dangerous riding a bike from Sydney to Perth, okay? But it's also going to be dangerous in a sailboat from Sydney to Perth, depending on the time of the year. If cyclone season hits, it's not going to be a fun trip. If you're not good on the water and you're trying to sail by yourself, it's going to be really, really rough. All those things considered, the number one issue you're going to have is water. You can legitimately make that trip, with very, very little food. It may take you longer than a month on a bike, but your legitimate main issue is going to be water. I'm not sure exactly what time of year this is taking place, but every time I've seen anything on Australia, it's like a freaking desert, and it's hot as shit, and there's always a water shortage. They're always in a drought, so that's going to be really bad for the water supply type thing. But bottom line, what would Ghost do? Ghost would find him a badass mountain bike, and I would set me a good pace, and I would just start trying to make some distance. I would ride. If I seen people on the street, I would probably pull off or try to blow through them as fast as possible. I'm not sure what the reason for you needing to get to Perth. I'm assuming it's family, but yeah, all things considered, walking is out. For me, the sailboat's out. There's just too many crazy things that go wrong at sea, because I was not in the Navy. I was in the Army. So I'm going to keep my LPCs on the ground. So yeah, I would go for the bike. The bike would be, out of all the options I can consider, and the safest options I can consider would be a bike, unless you can find a vehicle that actually works. And even if it only goes for a couple 100 miles, then you find a bike. You have to do the best you can. But yeah, definitely in this situation, if it was me stuck in Sydney needing to get to Perth, I'm finding a bicycle, and I'm doing the thing. I'm getting it done. It'll be a month before you get there, give or take, but it can be done just as fast, if not faster, than a sailboat, and 3 times as fast as walking. Other than that, that's about the best answer I can give you, Frugal Mom. I hope that that answers the question. Apparently, this is something that just popped into your head, or it's something that you feel like you live in Sydney, you have family in Perth. If something goes crazy, you're going to want to get there. So that's what I'm assuming, and hopefully this answers your question. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 3. If you have any scenarios or any questions you'd like to ask me, please feel free to email me at wwgdquestions@gmail.com. I will leave that in the description, the email, and just hit me up. The more detailed, the better. I can dig deeper into it with a lot of details, but I'll do the best I can with whatever you send me. Thanks a lot.